Then he turned around and said that, Carry, this is the Bofors guns 155 which is firing at its extreme ranges in high altitude area. The rounds are absolutely unpredictable. This is like suicidal, calling for fire so close. And these were the stone walls which were made by the Pakis. Very nicely made. Over there's one very brownish. We drank that water. You know? This guy, he thought I was a Pakistani when I sat in the helicopter. And then when I was speaking to him, I was told that the highest religious head over there in Leh, the Buddhist head, had given a direction to all the families that everybody from every family will send one member to support the cause of the army.
Namaskara Bandhavare. We are into the second part of my conversation with Brigadier Balayanda Muttanna Cariappa, a Kargil War veteran and a legendary warrior of the Indian Army. In the first part, Brigadier B.M. Cariappa shared his experiences of capturing Point 5203 as he and his colleagues led the troops of the 5th Battalion of the Parachute Regiment to capture Point 5203 and pave inroads for the subsequent offensive missions of the Indian Army. Captain Cariappa and his colleagues were sent on subsequent missions to capture other features, namely area conical and ring contour that sit right on LoC. However, after failing to create a casus belli for the global community to intervene into this conflict diplomatically and politically, particularly the P5 members of the United Nations Security Council, or to be more precise, China and America, Pakistani Prime Minister flies to Washington DC, meets with the then American President Bill Clinton, and immediately after that, on 5th of July 1999, declares withdrawal of the Pakistani troops from the Indian side of the LoC. What follows is an immediate declaration of ceasefire. Indian Army, as always going by the conventions of war, calls for immediate cessation of its offensive mission, honoring the ceasefire, expecting the Pakistanis to withdraw their troops from the Indian side of LoC and restoring the sanctity of the line of control per the Shimla Agreement of 1972. The indomitable determination of the Indian Armed Forces on the ground to not to cross LoC, even as it meant losing far fewer men than what we actually lost in the war, for going in the face of the enemy from our side of the LoC, created a political and diplomatic leverage for India on the global forums to show the whole world that Pakistan was the offender and the culprit clearly in this case, and thus Pakistan's attempt to link the Kargil conflict to the larger context of the Kashmir Valley crisis was failed. Even as Indian Army called for immediate cessation of its offensive missions, honoring the ceasefire declaration, Pakistani Army on the other side, instead of withdrawing its troops, uses this as an opportune time window to fortify its positions on many features on the Indian side of the LoC that it still held at the time this ceasefire declaration came into effect, in a desperate last bid to redraw the LoC to whatever possible extent. Pakistan begins sending massive reinforcements and lays down massive number of anti-personnel landmines near its positions and across the swaths and slopes of these hills, across which the Indian troops had to retreat to reach out their enemies to coerce them out from our side of the LoC. This makes Cariappa and his colleagues' mission even more complicated, as they were already up against heavy odds of 12:1 against our favor in the higher reaches of mountains. In spite of all these odds, the Indian troops finally succeed to evacuate the Pakistanis on the ground completely from our side of the LoC and hoisting the tricolour once for all, which stands strong even today. The part 2 is a continuation from where we left off in the part 1. So let us get into the conversation part without much ado.
So in the artillery parlance, if you're calling for any artillery fire within 300 meters, it's like calling for fire on your own location.
Okay.
So I was calling for it between 50 to 100 meters away. Now the thing is, but it was a kind of a calculated risk, because we were badly off for ammunition by the time, badly off. And I was calculating how many of my chaps are there. So Hemcharan was down, Sunil was down. Then somebody shouted that Naresh has got hit. He got a bullet through his mouth. He was on the LMG. Then there's another guy called Yudbir. Yudbir got shot in the arm. And then finally, it was like really messy. So I was calculating we were just bloody 14, 15 chaps. And there were, so many chaps, and badly off. We didn't have enough ammunition, maybe one bloody or 2 magazines of this thing. And there's bloody firing happening, motors coming, RPG firing, it's like quite chaotic. So then I said, we are desperately requiring fire. I mean, if you don't get us fire, in any case, we will not survive. So then, and we were behind cover. The enemy was in the open. So it was a risk, unless one bomb comes and falls on top of us only. But it was a risk.
Yeah.
And these were the stone walls which were made by the Pakis. Very nicely made. And I told my chaps also, it doesn't matter if we don't capture that peak or whatever, wherever we reach by first light, just stop over there, make a stone wall around you. Because that is all that will save you.
Yeah.
Because enemy is also firing.
Yeah.
And then I'm calling for our own artillery fire.
Yeah.
So a stone wall is the only thing that will save you. So anyways, that fire came, it was like really devastating. Like, I mean, it was like deafening. Most of us could not hear for a little while, all that soon your ear goes, absolutely blank. Now just imagine our luck, and whatever Gurpreet did, because the thing is, not a single of my chap got hurt. Everybody got splinters everywhere. But nobody, I didn't lose any of my chaps.
Okay.
But the Pakis were totally, they were in a bad
Pulverized.
shape. Not pulverized, I mean they were still chaps, they were lying there and here and all that.
Okay.
So, but then the other thing is that, I was telling the guys that shift, don't fire from one place, shift your location and fire and stuff. There is it's very difficult to explain like this, in a situation like this, because artillery fire, when they fire, so they give this, the entire thing is told to you, because you are listening.
Yeah.
The enemy doesn't know. So they say bombs out. Once the bombs are out, then he says, flight time is so much, so many seconds. And then before impact, they'll give you some 5 or 10 seconds, 5 seconds or something like that.
To hide.
No, this impact.
Yeah.
He'll say impact. So you have that 3 seconds or 5 seconds. I don't remember how much is it now. So you have that 3 to 5 seconds. So there was so much of intense firing happening. So when they would say bombs out, I would tell those guys, buddy, fire. So they would get up and they would fire, they would be firing. And then once I would shout at them and tell them, okay, cover low. So they would all duck. So we use this kind of a tactic. I mean, initially it went on, like then you realize that when you're listening to the orders being passed, so then Gurpreet is shouting, ki bombs out, time on target, itna, like flight time, so itna. Then he shouts impact. So sometimes, because I had to shout to tell everybody to duck. So sometimes it so happened that the bloody bombs are bloody exploding, and I'm shouting at them, bloody, everybody cover, take cover, and damar. Yeah. So while all this, so we managed to beat back that one counter attack, and then I was telling, don't stay at one place and fire. The enemy should not know that we are, so little people left. Otherwise they'll send more troops.
Yeah.
So we were shifting location and firing, and then I was shouting at them that fire single shot. One chap came to me and then he said, command Singh, he said ki sab befikar raho, don't worry, I've got 500 rounds tied up in one potli, one body.
Okay.
So it was like, then Command Singh's son also came and joined our unit, Rajendra. So anyway, so solid guy, Command Singh, he's from Kumaon area.
Okay.
So anyways, we beat that counterattack. Then there was somebody who was the enemy. No, they were firing RPGs. You know what is a RPG?
Rocket propelled grenades.
Yeah. So it's a shoulder fired rocket propelled grenade. So they were firing that, and that was we could not figure out where exactly are they firing from, because the place where we shot those two people from where it all started off, that was on a height. From there it would go down like that, and then about 200 meters or so away there's that location down below. From there they were firing, and then that would go up and to another mountain which was a little higher. The enemy was there also. So where were they firing from? We didn't know. So daba. Now the problem with the RPG is that it will explode on impact. The rocket launchers that we have, the Carl Gustav rocket launchers, you can make it explode in the air. So you put it at 100 meters. At 100 meters in the air, it will explode, and it's got those pellets inside it.
Yeah.
Anybody who's like, if you're behind cover, you're hiding, you're firing from here, you're behind this. So if it explodes in the air, anybody who's behind, he'll also die.
Yeah.
So if it has to explode on impact, it will hit over here. Okay. Nothing will happen to this guy over here.
Okay.
Now the problem with us is that we had this huge rock behind us. So I told everybody, leave this place and go to the other side, because the next peak ring contour was maybe about 800 meters or 1 kilometer away. So anyway, so it went on. So then I decided to pick up the rocket launcher and fire a couple of rounds in airburst in that direction where the RPGs were being fired from. So I picked up the rocket launcher, and so there's another chap called Prakash Aswal. I told him that he should fill the bombs while I'm
pressing the trigger.
No.
Launching the rocket.
Before launching the rocket, he was supposed to open it in a particular manner. Open it. It opens sideways. It doesn't open like this.
Okay.
It opens sideways.
Sideways, yeah.
And then he has to put the bomb inside it, and then bring it and close it back. Okay. So I took the rocket launcher. I said, Prakash Aswal. So, I told him set it at 190 meters and 200 meters. The moment I put that on my this thing, neighboring. So the problem is, if you're firing a rocket launcher, about 50 meters behind, in an angle of about 80 degrees or something, 75 degrees or 80 degrees, I don't remember now. It has to be open, because if you have a rock behind, the backblast, when you fire the rocket, the backblast is so strong that if you don't have adequate space behind, the backblast will hit the rock and burn you.
It will recocket and
the backblast, the fire which comes out of the rocket, it will hit the rock and it will burn you. So you need to have that much of space behind in that angle, and nobody can stand behind. So I was there, that spur which was going up, this is a rock over here. So I had to come to the side, and then from there I had to get onto one knee, and then I had to expose myself. So fire, I had to come out like this and fire.
Expose yourself to the enemy fire.
And the enemy is firing from just there. So the moment I put that and I was ready to fire, so Namdev Pawar, so he's a solid guy. He's a boxer. He's from Raigad, Maharashtra. He caught me from the collar and pulled me inside his sangad. Sangad is that stone wall. And then he tells me, "Ki saab kyun bevkufi kar rahe ho? Why are you doing this stupidity by risking your life? If anybody has to risk his life, I will do it. You don't do it." And then he says, "Ki as long as you are there, we will have that hostler to fight." So that way the Indian Army is like, it's an officer-led army. So the troops, they look forward to directions from the officers. But it was such a very, just imagine the gesture, just the thought of this chap saying that you don't risk your life, I will risk my life. That's the kind of bonhomie that we have. So anyways, the Namdev Pawar, immediately after the war, he lost his life in another operation, like you said, September.
In September 99, they carried on that ceasefire violation till September.
So after we came down from there, he also came down with me. So he was sent into the Turtuk sector. So there, in one particular operation, he lost his
Tuk
life.
sector means that is very close to Shok River, right?
Yeah. So anyways, so this went on for the whole day, and then and in the meanwhile somebody else had got hurt, and then when this argument was happening between me and him, suddenly 2-3 RPGs also came, that place where I was sitting to fire the rocket. They would have noticed me coming out or whatever. So then suddenly then Namdev turns around and says ki, I could feel something warm coming down here. And then Namdev tells me ki sahab aapka, you're bleeding.
You're bleeding, yeah.
So I did like this, there were pieces stuck, and then I saw all blood. So there are little ball bearings that had gone in. So there are still 5 pieces inside my head now. So then the guys caught hold of me and they said ki nahi sahab, they bandaged me and all that.
So that was, they are the splinters of rocket propelled grenade.
These anti-personnel rockets, they've got little ball bearings which fly in all directions once it explodes. So anybody in the path of the ball bearing, so I must have got a ricochet or something, it didn't, or maybe my skull is too thick or too strong. It didn't penetrate my skull, so you can actually feel one piece over here, just below the skin, over here. And how I got to know about this, that it's still there, is many years later, I think 2 years later, I was doing para jumps and I got hurt in my head. So they said you have to do an X-ray. So when we did the X-ray, the doctor's asking, what are these pieces? What are these markings over here?
Okay.
I told him I don't know. So they did one more X-ray. And then they counted. And then they said that you still have. Then he says, have you ever got hurt? I told him yes, Kargil. Then he said, there still are 5 pieces inside. 5 pieces of RPG made in Rawalpindi.
Are still there. And there's one soldier in Bagalkote district. I don't know about his name, but I heard that 3 bullets still remain in his body even today.
But then, Hemant, the thing is that, by evening 8:30, Dikshit's party, which was down below, daytime they realized, but they could not come up because our particular peak, there was so much of intense firing. Neighboring peak, what had happened was Jaggi had stepped on a landmine, and he had his shouts were what were visible. And then there were other chaps who went to pull him out of that place. They also stepped on a landmine. So we lost quite a few of the chaps. They lost their legs. I mean, Jaggi lost his leg. Then other chaps. So, but the thing is that the guys didn't give up. I mean, then 10:30 there was a second counterattack which came. But this time we had this additional 70 guys. Then all the chaps from my team who were injured, so I put them in buddy pairs. Then I was sitting there, told this JCO who was there with me, Diwan Saab, ki send them through me. Told each one of them, I would tell them, you bloody chaps, nobody will walk on any flat surface. Walk over boulders. Walk over boulders. So not even one single mine casualty from my team. And then I was also injured. Yudbir, who was there with me, who got shot in the arm, he was injured. And my CO then he gave directions, ki carry, you have to deinduct and come down right now. So that time I was like, these chaps had not come up till then. So I told him, ki if I leave this place, the enemy, they've just tried to do one counter-attack. If I leave this place, they'll come and sit on the top. He said, no, everybody gets very emotional during that time. So my CO that time, Colonel Srivastav, he said, no, carry, you're very, very precious to us. I want you to come down right now. So I switched off the radio set. There was no way we could have, 2 chaps had lost their life. So many chaps were injured. What is the purpose? I mean, if I was solely bothered about my safety, then why would I, even bother to join the army? And we had, we were holding on to that particular post. We had killed those, those Pakis over there, and then the other guys who were coming up over there. Entire purpose would have been defeated, right? So I said, ki nothing doing, I'm not going to leave this place. He said, no, this is a direct order, this, that. I switched off the radio. Now in the evening, this Dikshit party came up. Then we were very, very well secured. We redistributed the ammunition, this, that and all that. And then CO once again came on the radio set. By the time I had to, I could not keep it switched off.
Yeah.
I switched it on after a little while. So he says, "Bloody Carry, bloody chap, you know, have you started de-inducting?" So I told him, "No, sir. Dikshit is too young. He's just come out of the academy. You need to send somebody who's senior enough." So then he said, "Anukul is already coming up." So there's another officer, Samir Anukul. So he said, "Anukul is coming up." So we were waiting, myself and rest of the guys. Now just imagine this guy, he's shot in the arm, his bone was shattered. Blood was coming out like a fountain. So he refused to go down, and then he turned around and said that, that you also hit, you also must be in pain. I'll be your buddy pair when you're going down. So because each guy was there as a buddy pair, two guys going down together. And so till morning about 4 o'clock or so, Anukul had not come up. So then once again my CO, nobody was sleeping at that time. Na? So CO also, he came on the radio, said, "Have you started de-inducting?" I told him, "No sir, Anukul has still not reached up." He says, "You bloody bastard."
You're not obeying my orders.
No, he will reach there, he'll reach there in another half an hour. If you don't de-induct now, you will be stuck there for one more day. So then I told him, okay, I'll start coming down. So myself and Yudhbir, we were giving, a shoulder to each other, and we somehow reached down below, and you're really, really thirsty because that place is so dry. And then we reached down below. The moment we reached that puddle over there's one very brownish. We drank that water, like, because it dries up everything inside. It's like dry, very, very dry. So, and then somehow we reached the base. So by the time they had evacuated this guy, Apna Jaggi, and the other guys.
Whose shoulder was
no. Jaggi is the guy who stepped on the landmine in the neighboring.
Yes.
So Jaggi was lying there, and I went and hugged him, and then I also lost consciousness because I also had blood loss.
So that adrenaline had kept you people active, even amidst these fatal wounds.
So then once I came, they gave me drips and even all that, and then the doctor was there, Vikram Grewal, the regimental medical officer. Then he said, "This guy's got pieces in his head, he has to be evacuated." So then now there was another operation happening in the neighboring, conical Renkantur, and there was one more operation happening. So there they had caught hold of one chap. He was from 33 Frontier Force. And he was there at the helipad. So I had to wait for the helicopter to come. The helicopter came, the commander, Brigadier Devinder Singh, he came, and then he got to know that I was evacuated. I'd come down. So this is very scary, very scary. So there I saw this bloody Pakistani chap, and they got one fruity for him. So this guy was having fruity here, just imagine. Just imagine.
You guys were
we are desperate for this thing, and he has a bloody beard here, and he's looking at everybody and smiling. You bloody look at these idiots. I went and bloody gave him one. So the commander, he was there with my CO. He saw me bashing up this guy. So he came jumping over the rocks. Now, koi prisoner of war ko haath nahi lagayega, and all that. So I saluted and told him, "Sir, I'm Captain Cariappa."
Obey the Geneva Convention.
So I told him, "I'm Captain Cariappa." "Oh, you're Carry." "Man, you're the hero of Batalik. You're the hero of Batalik." So he shook hands with me. And then he said, "Okay, the prisoner can go later." He was very happy when then he asked me, "Why are you hitting him?" I told him, "Sir, we are struggling, for even water over here, and somebody's got fruity for him." And he's looking at everybody and giving them a jeering kind of a smile, like, so I was like, so anyway, so then he said, "Prisoner can go later, Carry will go with me." Now when I went and sat in the helicopter, as per the manifest, the pilots were supposed to take the prisoner back. So when I went and sat in the helicopter, I was not wearing ranks or my name and things like that. It's not like all that fancy, like you see in all the ceremonial functions. We are dirty. I mean, You know, the dangri I was wearing, it had a hole over here and over here.
Fresh from the battlefield, hadn't taken bath for almost a month.
Here there was a hole over here.
Yeah.
So we were like, you know, those bungis, like, no, the you scratch like this, it's all, you know, pink inside. And no bath, hair is all like that. And we had a beard, you know, and that.
Maybe your beloved closed ones too couldn't have identified you in that avatar.
So anyway, so this guy, he thought I was a Pakistani. When I sat in the helicopter, so the commander was still talking there to the commanding officer. So this guy, that all that rotor noise and all that, no, giving me galis, no, and all that.
Okay.
So I was trying to tell him, and then I had this bandages and all that. I could not shout also.
Yeah. So you let him vent out whatever the anger that he had on Pakistanis.
I kept doing like this. I said, but and that guy shouting, na, he lifting his visor and said, "Sale, Tata kya kar raha hai? Tata kya kar raha hai? Haath kya hila raha hai? You know, why are you shaking, waving your hand?" So anyways, the commander came and sat. I was sitting on the floor because they remove all the seats because the helicopter can't carry too much of weight at that altitude. No?
Yeah.
So from there, then we went down, and in the Dha village, there my troops were told on the, you know, that internal, we had that magnetophones. You rotate over here and it rings on the other side.
Okay.
So, and then radio said, oh, whatever in the base they got to know where the road is, no? From where we had to climb and come all the way up. It's like a 18-hour climb to Muntutalo, where we were. So from there, you know, these chaps, they were told that Cari Saab is coming down in the helicopter, be there to receive him. So all my chaps who were there, part of that administrative party, na, collecting ration and ammunition, they were all waiting there. And then helicopter landed, and the moment it landed, the guys, they were all waiting there around the helicopter. So the commander opens the door and he gets down and he does one thumbs up and he goes, Devinder Singh. And then the moment I got down, so somebody's pulling me from here, somebody's pulling ki, Saab, how is Hemcharan, how's, you know, pulling, Saab, Hemcharan is okay, how's Sunil, and what about this guy, Jaggi Saab kaisa hai, and all that. So then somebody's pulling me here, somebody's pulling me here. So the pilots can't hear because the noise is there of the rotor and all that. So
yeah.
They thought, you know, that these guys are roughing up the Pakistani.
Okay.
So this chap opens the door and loudly shouts, "Sale haramzade ko chhodna mat, uska achhi tarah se band bajana lekna."
Okay.
So anyway, so
when did the moment of revelation came to the
oh no, then they flew off. I mean,
oh, they flew off.
They flew off. Then
okay.
Yeah, then all the pilots.
Any time later after the battle was, you didn't get to meet the pilot any time later.
Because there were so many helicopters flying there that time. So casualty evacuation.
Yeah.
So then, while doing other army courses and all that, all these guys, na, from the army aviation, has to say, you know, I was evacuated on this place. Were you the bloody chap who evacuated me? So why? Because those chaps thought I was a Pakistani. So anyways, so they're all senior officers now. So they said that we'll try to access, but I never got to know. I just have 2-3 names, but I mean, it doesn't matter. So anyway, so then I came down, and then after a few days, then I was taken to the hospital. You know, all the hospital, everything was in a tent. So this doctor came, you know, with his, there's somebody, all his, you know, intestines and all were out. Operation is happening right there in front of us. You know, the curtain also was open. And then he comes like that, and then he says, "Yeah, what happened? Tere ko kya ho gaya?" He thought I was a Jawan because we are not wearing ranks. So I told him, "Sir, I'm Captain Cariappa. I've got pieces in my head." So then he removed the bandage and all that, and took one tweezer, one chap with the kidney tray came, and then, you know, he took out some pieces, and then he asked me, "How much is this? How much is this? How much is this?" So he says, "You're okay. Iska patti kara ke bhej do. I've got more important cases. I have to attend to them." Yeah, a lot of people.
And then you were flown to Srinagar?
No. Then I came back to the unit. So the unit was in a place called Sanjak. Sanjak is, if you've been on that valley, na, that Aryan valley, so there is a village called Dha. After Dha, there is a village called Sanjak.
Finally, by which date you were relieved of your battalion?
So I came back over there to Sanjak, and there, there after a couple of days, George Fernandez, the defense minister, he landed up over there, and the div commander over there, 3 div, was General Budwar. So all of us who had fought there and were injured or whatever had come down. We were told that we should go there to, go and say hello to George Fernandez. And he was like one simple chap in one khadi kurta and all that.
Yeah.
And so I went there and I introduced myself that I'm Captain Cariappa. So General Budwar was there. General Budwar, he jumps and he says, "Yo Cariappa, sir, he's the man, sir. He's captured 5203. He's captured this thing,
Muntodalo.
He was there in the Muntodalo operations and he's captured Konikal."
Yeah, Konikal.
So, and he said, that he's a hero of Batalik. So then George Fernandez put one arm around me and then he took me to a side. And then he said, "Beta, abhi theek to hai. Are you okay now?" Because I had those bandages and all. No? I told him, "Sir, thank you very much. I'm okay." And but the thing is, by the morning of 22nd July, we had the tricolour on Konikal at ring contour. So that we still have the tricolour on these 2 features on the line of control.
Intact.
26
years after.
Yes.
So that was the point, where you drove out the enemies. I mean, you people were confirmed that the enemies are driven out to that side of the LoC.
Yeah.
Completely.
Driven, there was the last of the action in the Kargil War. So anybody else who was there, he was either taken prisoner or he was killed. So there was no other location inside, because it's very well defined. The line of control as a feature, it's very well defined.
So you saw the enemies in action and you saw the enemy being taken as a prisoner. One of the 8 POVs you got comprehended. One of them.
I didn't capture him. He was captured by somebody, but I just went and gave him a couple of jobs. That's all.
So you thrashed him. And how was the feeling when you first spotted the enemy, dressed up khaki? He is there to firing at you.
Yeah, no, he was not firing at us till then. He was also confused. We were also confused because we thought they are our chaps.
Okay.
And they were confused. Who are these chaps? What would have possibly happened is that when that explosion happened in the neighboring feature, that Jaggi stepped on a mine. So these guys who are here to reinforce that they were not aware that there's another party coming up here. So they would have left this place to go and reinforce that particular place. Because from this place, just 40 yards away, there's another deployment where we shot those 2 chaps.
And deployment of Pakistanis.
Where I saw those guy in khaki, that is like just 40 yards away. So they would have probably thought we can move these chaps. So the place where we landed up, so there is an element of luck also involved. So there is an element of luck and then the determination that we will hold on despite all odds. So these guys, when we went up to this particular spot, there were stone walls and all made, and there were a whole lot of things kept over there and all that, but there was no Pakistani. But just 40 yards away, there was a Pakistani deployment. So there was confusion initially, because my chaps had told me that they reached, they given me the code word Sona. So I was thinking they're my chaps.
It was such a fatal perplexion that.
And then those guys were also confused, thinking who are these guys? And it's still the time that guy ran across, otherwise we would have still be confused. So luckily that guy ran across. The fact that he ran across and we noticed he was wearing khaki was the giveaway. So we were the ones who actually shot him first, him and that other guy. Otherwise if they would have shot, it would have been the other way.
Yeah. So any instances of finding some food left behind by the Pakistanis so that you could...
No, we didn't, because there was so much of shelling which had happened over there. We were desperate for water and so there was some sugar and this, that and all that, but it was all black here. There's so much of shelling, no? It was all black. So we relied on the shakar. I thought, at least for me. Later on, in one podcast, Subhadar Yudhbir had mentioned that they had gone on to Munthodalo and they got some, packets of sugar and stuff like that. And they used the same sugar and tea to make chai. And then later on they told me, ki sahab, aa jao chai pee lo. I said, Sala, ye kamino, ye chai kahan se aaya?
Nowadays, Pakistanis troll Indians asking, chai kaise the after they, got hold of Abhinandan. It has become a trolling thing for Pakistanis. But Indians had made a troll for Pakistanis using the same chai kaisa hai. Sir, we have discussed a lot about Kargil War and in the Batalik sector and all these things. But one of the most underappreciated things about Kargil War is the local support. They risked their lives as they were supplying the ammunition, food ration, and all these things to the soldiers, fighting out all the way up in the top. Could you please talk about that?
Yeah, for some reason I don't see, I haven't come across much of it, spoken or written anywhere. But I can specifically talk about Batalik. Batalik was a place where I can vouch for the fact that there were people from all walks of life. Well-to-do people, educated people, everybody came in hordes, trying to support the cause of the Indian Army, fighting, there in the Kargil War. And then later on when I was speaking, I became friends with this guy called Ricky Shunu. Ricky Shunu, incidentally, is the son of the then director or the head of the All India Radio, which was based in Kargil. So her son came there to work as a porter, and then when I was speaking to him, I was told that the highest religious head over there in Leh, the Buddhist head, had given a direction to all the families that everybody from every family will send one member to support the cause of the army, the war in its war effort. So there were people from every family, over there. Whether he's a bank manager, he's a teacher, he's a whatever, they were there, working as porters, carrying ammunition, rations and warlike stores, from the road to the, the base, from where it was again distributed and taken by the army chaps. I don't know why this has actually not been publicized, because maybe it was in Batalik, because Batalik didn't have much of media. All the media was concentrated over there in Dras and Kargil, that area, because from there the peaks were more accessible. This side there was no media. So while the army in Batalik didn't get this coverage, even the people who came to help the cause the war effort of the army, the locals, they also didn't get the coverage. So this is something that I think should be spoken more often, and I think the people should get their due. Of course, I mean, after the war was over, I was one of the officers who was nominated. We made it a point that all the recorded effort of the people, they were paid a certain amount of money, that is the requisite amount of money which is required to be paid to the porters as per the calculations. So I remember I'd gone all across Ladakh and distributing this money from village to village. So it was quite a commendable effort. And I think they need to be given a big shabashi for it. Even after all these years.
So it's a beautiful valley, Aryan Valley, but across the different sides of LoC, the scenario is different when we look at the their attachment to the root culture and all these things. So what we get to see on the Indian part of the side is they have stuck to their more authentic ethnic selves, whereas on that side of the LoC is a different story.
Yes. So especially in that Batalik area, it's called the Aryan Valley. There are a lot of tourists also come there to see the so-called original Aryan heritage. What strikes you is, once you stay there and you study that area, what strikes you is that the, while all this Garkun and
Da
and Darchik,
Gurgurdo,
all these places, you can see the authentic legacy of the Aryan culture is still being maintained. Their, their attire, the way they speak, their, customs and traditions, they're still maintaining that. But there are Aryan villages across the LC. You just go a couple of kilometers, there are villages over there, which are also Aryan villages. But all of them have either been forced or, for whatever reason, they don't follow their, they've all converted. They're not, they're not Aryan Buddhists
anymore.
They don't, they all the villages are converted. They have, they don't have their original culture. So if you actually go onto Google Map also, you can see the emblem of the religious places over there, and you can make out that.
Yeah, we can easily make it out.
Yeah. So these people, they've got their relatives across, and they themselves, they say that, कि यहाँ पे तो, because we have the liberty, we are still following our culture. Across, हमारे गाँव वाले जो हैं on the other side, they all have converted. So that is the difference of a radical nation and a free nation.
Free nation. That stark contrast is visible just in the span of 4 or 5 kilometers from this side and
Correct,
that side.
Correct.
Yes.
So that is how it is.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, sir. I don't know, how much should I thank you, because you're very busy, and especially in the month of Vijay Divas, you will be having a lot of interview calls and media briefings, and amidst all this, you have given your invaluable time to a very small time YouTube content creator like me. I don't know how much should I thank you. Thanks a lot, and I really wish to keep meeting you time and again whenever time permits, both you and me, because you have in you a lot of things to share with us, and I really wish to meet you again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Hemant. Pleasure speaking to you. Didn't expect that it'll go on for such a long time, but then we ended up spending, I think, some 3-4 hours now. All the best to you for your this podcast channel which you just starting, and if speaking to me could make a little difference, I do hope that it is helpful to you in your content creation and your podcasts that you just started. So anyways, glad to help. Glad that I could be of some value to your podcast, right? So
thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah.
Not some value, but it is invaluable. I don't know, it is beyond the words. I can't describe. And thanks a lot, sir, once again.
ठीक.